What is going on, everybody? Almost Counts Collectibles here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a collection that I am very excited about. This is actually a fully customized Masters of the Universe Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Villan collection. Now, the figures you see in front of you are actually base model Masters of the Universe figures that have been fully customized into looking like Mighty Morphin Power Ranger villains. They are extremely cool looking. I have wanted to get my hands on these for several years. I remember seeing similar figures like this posted on eBay as long as about 6+ years ago. Now, when I first saw them, I wanted them right away. They were very cool looking, very unique. Someone obviously put a lot of time and effort into customizing them. However, the particular artists that did those customizations, they were asking upwards of $150 per action figure. And at the time, I just couldn't afford $150 per figure. I was extremely disappointed because I wanted them very much, but I just wasn't willing to spend that much at the time. Well, a few days ago, I happened to come across someone selling an entire set of these for $125. So I actually picked them up. They just arrived today. I am super happy with my purchase. They look great, just as good as I thought they would. They are very unique. And we're going to take a look at each one of these just to see the detail and the stuff that they have done to them. Now, I'm not familiar enough with Masters of the Universe to tell you which base model figures were used to create these figures, or if all of them are in fact base model Masters of the Universe villains. All I know is that's what they were advertised as, at least for the most part. So most of them, to my knowledge, were created off of actual Masters of the Universe toys. Once again, though, I don't know if every single one was, but they look outstanding. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at each one of these figures and just check them out and see what they've actually done to them, because they are extremely cool looking. All right, now we can take a little bit more in depth at each one of these awesome figures. We're going to go ahead and start with the Putty Patrollers here. Now, the really cool part about these Putty Patrollers, not only do they look awesome, but they aren't exact copies of each other. They are slightly different. One is ever so slightly taller. The face mold is different. The paint throughout is slightly different. They are made to have similar looking bodies, but even the black marks themselves are not in the exact same spot. The color is a little lighter and darker in different places throughout the actual body paint. But for the most part, I mean, obviously they are the same kind of putty. They just have their slight differences. These head molds are very, very cool. Their heads are fully rotatable. They can look all the way up in the air. But the fact that they weren't exact copies I thought was really unique, and I liked it even that much more because now I have two different looking putties. But the Putty Patrollers don't have any accessories themselves. All the other figures come with accessories. The putties actually do not, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and talk about articulation real quick of these figures. Now, we'll talk about the larger ones, the bigger ones once we get to them, but the actual smaller figures, which would be Ooze, Rita Repulsa, and the Putty Patrollers, have a little bit more articulation. The bigger ones are a little bit more limited, but they are still very posable and still look extremely cool when you set them up. So with the actual Putty Patrollers, the wrist joints actually move all the way around on top of bending in and out. The elbow just moves up and down. Right beneath the shoulder, the arm will move in and out. So you can do a 360 there. And then you actually have the movement of the shoulder that comes out, kind of similar to the Lightning collection. The waist right here, well, just above the waist, right underneath the chest piece, the figure can actually move up and down just like the Lightning collection does. We have movement at the waist itself. You can actually twist the figure. I'm going to be limited on just how much I'm doing here just because I don't want to scratch any paint or mess these figures up at all. I'm trying to keep them in very good shape. I don't know how delicate they are. They seem to be holding up pretty well, but I just don't want to put any extra stress on them. Moving on down just above the thigh here, you can actually do a 360 with the legs in and out on top of the actual joints having full movement. The knees on the figures will move in and out in an L motion, 90 degrees probably up and down. Just above the boots and above the ankles on the other ones, they actually have 360 motion. And then you have the actual ankle itself that can move up and down. So the smaller figures are a little bit more jointed and posable, but the larger figures are still very posable. So here are the Putty Patrollers. Let's go ahead and get a full 360 since I was pretty much just explaining some stuff. Right here on the elbow as he falls to the ground. Typical Putty, just falling over and giving up. But we have some paint that wasn't fully, some area that wasn't fully painted, probably because the arm was closed when it was painted. I'm fine with that, no big deal. But there are the Putty Patrollers, very, very cool. Let's go ahead and set them back here, and we will move on to our next figure. And next we are going to talk about Rita Repulsa. All right, let's go ahead and grab Rita here. Here is Rita Repulsa. She comes with a staff. I don't believe this staff was fully custom made. I could be mistaken. I think this might be the staff that came with the Samurai edition of Rita Repulsa, the very small, like 4-inch figure. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I'll look it up and throw up a picture if that is it for confirmation. But she would look much better with the actual Lightning Collection Rita Repulsa staff, which might be in her future. I'm not sure, but I'm going to leave that one on there for now. But let's go ahead and talk about Rita here from the top to the bottom. So you will see here on her head, I mean, they've done a great job at actually modifying the head here. I'm not sure what these base figures look like, so I'm not sure exactly how much modification they did, but I'm assuming it's a lot. And they molded it and they colored in for her actual hair. It looks great. This is obviously a younger Rita. I kind of look at these figures as an alternate universe edition of these figures. They look similar to them, but they are obviously different overall in their look, but I still think they look great. Let's go ahead and talk about her neck guard right here. They did a great job with this. They even have some kind of foamy stuff they've cut out and put on here. The top of it has all these cool symbols. They even colored it in with the gold where it should be around the tops. She has her breastplate here, which is for the most part very accurate in color. Of course, we have her overall dress, which I see the pieces. They've folded these kind of fabric looking pieces and glued them on, it looks like, around the arms and then here at the waist for the bottom of the dress. And overall, it looks great. They blended it in very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So here is the back of the dress. Once again, all of it has been fully custom painted. We have the front of the dress here at the bottom. She has like these tall, like stocking looking boot things on, which are pretty cool looking. Overall, just a very, very cool version of Rita Repulsa. I mean, you can take one look and know exactly, who this is supposed to be. Just a slight different take on her, a much younger take. And that is Rita Repulsa. Let's go ahead and set her back here, and we'll look at the next figure. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Lord Zedd. All right, and here is Lord Zedd. Once again, very, very cool. As you can tell from the bottom all the way to the top, they have factored in his body armor. So we have the boots, we have the pieces that are wrapped around the leg, and they did a very good job with this flesh coloring of his actual body all the way throughout. Very, very cool looking. We've got the arm plate right here. We even have the finger plates that they have colored in that you can see. We have these little wire looking things that they have attached the arms up and curved around down into the chest for his actual tubes. So that's pretty cool. We only have the two. We don't have any on the legs or anything, but I'm okay with that. He has his Z staff here. Now, I'm not sure if this was 3D printed. It kind of looks like it was connected at the top and the bottom to the pieces, but it was very sturdy. So that's pretty cool. They made a fully customized Z staff. We've got the armor on the back that has been fully customized. We have the belt, of course. The helmet wraps all the way around the back. They cut out all of the vents on his visor, which was very cool. We've got a tiny little nick there that needs to be touched up. We even have the actual Z right here on top of his actual helmet. The brain effect, you can see, has been fully customized to look like his brain up there. Just very, very cool figure. I mean, clearly you can tell right off the bat that is Lord Zedd. Gonna display great. And like I said, these larger figures are a little limited in their actual movement. You don't have quite as much, but for the most part, they are very similar. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Ivan Ooze. All right, one of the cooler figures. I really like this Ivan Ooze. I think it's the head sculpt that's really selling it. He even has a rubber staff here for his accessory. It's curved just a little bit. I'm bending it out. Some of these rubberized accessories, if they're slightly bent in the wrong direction for too long, they kind of want to stay there. But look at this face sculpt. I mean, very, very good face sculpt. Looks just like Ivan Ooze. I think this probably looks better than a lot of the actual action figures we've received of Ivan Ooze, but the body coloring, everything throughout just looks awesome. His robe that he has on here looks very cool. Let's go ahead and take a look. See, we've got the actual standout little designs here on the front. We have the neck guard. We have this like neck flare piece sticking out the back. Very, very cool. Look at that detail on there. Custom paint all throughout on the actual robe. Very, very cool figure. One of my favorite out of all these. Although the next one is probably my absolute favorite, which is Goldar, just because of how big and customized and awesome he looks. But this is a very, very cool Ivan Ooze. I mean, look at that face. Very, very cool Ivan Ooze. Look at that. Very, very neat. I know I've said that a million times, but... And that is the Ooze Man. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them before, but if you go on Etsy, there are actually several people who make custom 3D printed like props for Power Rangers. Everything from replacement parts to your Megazords, custom morphers, coins, stands, all that cool stuff. But one really cool accessory that I'm definitely going to have to get now to display it with this is you can actually get the armored hand with the purple egg inside of it. And I'll throw up a picture here for reference. But they make a smaller one and they make a larger one. You can get them custom painted already. I might go ahead and get that larger custom painted one because I think that large egg standing next to Ivan Ooze here with this particular figure would look absolutely amazing. And go check that out if you haven't already. Like I said, I'll throw up the picture here, but very, very cool. They you can get the non-painted version and smaller ones and stuff. Like I said, they range in price, but that actual hand, and I'll throw it up here again on the screen so you can see it, very, very cool looking, and I think it would look awesome with this particular figure. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. All right, moving on, we're going to take a look at Goldar. Now, Goldar is one of my favorite figures out of this, just because of how extremely cool that he actually looks. And I'm going to bring you guys up just a little bit so we can get the top of his head in there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Goldar. I'm going to move some of these back out of the way. Let's get Rita back there so she doesn't fall over. And we will take a look at Goldar. Now, not only is Goldar the biggest figure, but he is one of the most accurate looking as well. I mean, this face, I really want to know how they molded this to get this to look like Goldar. I mean, they must have put a lot of time and effort into this. As I said before, I don't know a lot about Masters of the Universe, but I don't recall off the top of my head of any of the figures having someone who looks that much like Goldar. So very, very cool details on the Goldar face. We have the fuzzy little neck wrap right here. We have the little pointy claws at the ends. The chest, the red where it goes at the waist. I mean, even the claws on his toes. I mean, everything is spot on. Very, very cool version of Goldar here. He comes with a custom sword. Once again, not an exact replica of what his sword looks like, but none of these figures are spot on. Like I said, I kind of think of them as an alternate universe, you know, Goldar. He has his wings that do detach, so you can have wingless Goldar or winged Goldar. So there are his wings. They even move in and out if you want to kind of spread them out to the rear further. You can do that, so they do kind of have that flapping motion. Now with these bigger figures like Lord Zedd, Goldar, and even Rita Repulsa that we'll take a look at last, their mobility is a tiny bit limited. They don't have as much articulation. So for example, here at the feet, the ankles don't really move left and right that much. The entire leg will, but not the ankle. It just moves up and down. Same thing with the knee joint. It will move in and out, but it won't sway from left to right, side to side. The hip will, though, so you can still get a pretty good stance and a pretty good pose out of it. With the actual hands, the wrists will spin, the joint at the elbow will bend up and down, and then the arm itself will go probably all the way around 360 if you really wanted to. But that's pretty much it. There's not that extra articulation. We even have the shoulder pads up here, which are extremely cool. I mean, this is just a very, very cool looking figure. We'll have to pull some of his fuzzy stuff down a little bit there to cover that a little bit better. But I mean, look at that face. It just looks very, very unique and just extremely cool. I'm going to say that a million times probably, but I just can't get over this fully customized collection here. It's extremely cool. Let's go ahead and set Goldar right here in the middle. All right, last but certainly not least, let's take a look at Rita Repulsa here. Now, Rito actually comes with several accessories. The particular accessory over here in his right hand, which I have taken a piece off to pretty much be his sword, it had this piece attached to it up here at the top. And he kind of held it in the picture down here like this long staff with these two skulls at the top going in two different directions, but I don't really remember him having ever a weapon like that, so I went ahead and took that piece off just to make this one piece with the sword, his bone sword, and then he even came with a machine gun, which was extremely cool. So we don't have any kind of like backpack to put on his back, but Rito here looks, I mean, extremely, I mean, it's a very, very good rendition of Rita Repulsa here. Extremely good likeness of him. Everything from the head to the paint scheme to the, you know, the kind of body. We have this custom bone, like chest piece here on the front. We have the split coloring camo on the right, on my right anyways, and his actual, you know, grayish lighter looking color on the other side. But the head sculpt, very, very good. We'll go ahead and spin that around. He has like his helmet piece on there. And here's the back. We have that back piece right here that's attached for his actual chest piece. Just a very, very cool Rita Repulsa. Let's go ahead and move Goldar over here so we can get him more in camera. And yeah, here he is, Rita Repulsa. And like I said with the other ones, with the articulation, he's a little bit limited on that, the joints as far as the actual left and right pivots, but a very, very cool looking Rita Repulsa. And that sword, I mean the skull and the sword and everything like that, very, very neat. All right, so that has been my custom Masters of the Universe collection. Very, very neat. Let me know what you guys think about it. I am super pumped. I cannot wait to get this in full-on display mode. We're going to set these guys up here close to each other. Like I said, here's that other piece for Rita Repulsa's weapon, but I took that off. So he's got a little bonus piece there. But yeah, here they are. Very, very cool. I'm very excited to finally get my hands on them. Like I said, they were listed for over 150 a piece over the years when I've seen people make these. Now, I don't know if these are the figures that I saw released over the years. I don't know if multiple people have created these. All I know is I finally got my hand on a set of them, and they're going to make an extremely cool display. I mean, just look at these head sculpts. Look how well that they depict the character, you know, that they were going for. Very, very cool. I mean, even the putties look extremely cool. Just for size comparison, we'll go ahead and throw a few more figures up here. So let's go ahead and throw up a Mighty Morphin Red. So here is a Mighty Morphin Red figure. And then we'll go ahead and set up a Lightning Collection figure. Or not Lightning Collection, I'm sorry, a Legacy Collection. Because these are a little bit bigger than the Lightning Collection. And you will see that they are very close to size with the Legacy figures. Now, each one of the figures is just, I don't know, probably maybe a quarter of an inch or so taller. But for the most part, they're almost spot on with the actual size. So you could even throw these together with a display with your bigger Legacy Power Ranger figures, and they would actually make a pretty cool display together. Goldar, you know, he's a little bit bigger, but then again in the show, he was very bulky. He was a bigger character, especially with his wings. So it doesn't even look all that bad. Ivan Ooze back there, I mean, just looks extremely cool. So I think he's probably one of the closest figures, other than the putties are pretty close, to being an exact size match to the actual Legacy figures. But that's just for size comparison of the figures themselves. Let's go ahead and put these in, see if we can get a little battle action pose going on here. I'm going to set Rito aside, and I am actually going to use Goldar, just because he looks extremely cool. So we'll get Goldar set up kind of in a slashing pose here. And then we'll go ahead and pose our Legacy Zack to kind of try and get a little battle action pose going on. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have ever seen any of these figures before, you know, like on eBay or anywhere else, of this Masters of the Universe kind of customization. There we go. We got our Zack kind of defending himself against our Goldar here. I think it makes for a pretty cool battle action scene. Goldar isn't that much bigger than him, so it's pretty close. And then just for size comparison, like I said, since they were close to each other, I know that probably wasn't the best setup right there, but let's go ahead and put Ivan Ooze next to Zach. Just for size comparison. Now, Zach's knees and stuff are slightly bent, so if he was standing straight up, he would be a tad bit taller. But that is the size comparison of Ivan Ooze to a legacy figure. So just to give you a good scale of how tall these Masters of the Universe custom figures are, that's it right there with Zach. All right, everybody. Well, that's been my video on this awesome new collection that I got. Once I get it fully set up and displayed, we'll go ahead and take a look at the display itself. But for the most part, that is where we are going to wrap it up. And let me know what you guys think. Now, unfortunately, I can't really tell you how to get your hands on this collection, seeing as how it is a fully customized set. So sorry about that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to help you out there. You're just going to have to luck out. I don't know if that particular artist makes these anymore, which is all the more reason why I had to snatch them up. But thanks for joining me for this. I have a lot more stuff coming. We're going to do a lot more reviews. I've got a few mystery collections on the way. Some Power Ranger collections that I've purchased where I know like 1 or 2 things in there, and then they said they would just include everything else that they have. So we'll open those up and check them out together. And until next time, everybody, I will see you next video.